Hi, welcome to the video today. Today we're going to be looking at a little indie game called Game of Thrones Reign. Now this game is based off the Game of Thrones series. It is from also the Reigns series, which is available to Steam and Nintendo Switch. This one, however, is fully Game of Thrones licensed. It's the only one of the series that is licensed. The rest of them are sort of, you're just the king or queen. And the premise of this game is you will take control of one of the kings or queens of Westeros and try and rule Westeros in your beloved way. However, you will have to try and survive as many moons as possible. Now, how does this game play? Well, this game is fully interactive, I would say. There's literally no gameplay in terms of moving, controlling a character. It basically is an interactive story, so you need to get your head around that it is an interactive story. Is it a good interactive story? Well, I had a lot of fun with this game. I believe it is a very good interactive story. How it works is you select a character from Game of Thrones. For example, you might start off as Daenerys. You might be King Jon Snow. Whether that'll happen in the TV show, we'll have to find out. Or you might be Cersei Lannister, or there's some surprise selections. I think there's about 8 characters. No, there's about 9 or 10. You can... How many is there? There is... Yeah, so there's 9 characters you can choose from. I've only unlocked 4. You could say, oh well, what if you've only unlocked 4 characters out of the 9? How could you review this game? Well, I have played probably 7 or 8 hours of it, and to me, that's all you really need to play to review it. Like, you only really need to play 3 or 4 hours, and you know if the game is good or not. Back on track though. You select a character, and how it works is you are given a choice. You either move, if you're playing on PC, you have your mouse, you move left or right. If you're playing on laptop, which I am, but I have a mouse as well, so if you use on laptop, you either move your keys left or right. And how it works is the left side is usually, you get it asks you a question, or you get like a situation, and how it works is you then have to respond by either choosing the left answer or the right answer. From my experience, usually the right answer is more goodwill, and the left sort of more unpredictable, I guess, because you can either be a jerk. Sometimes the way of the left side is good. It just depends really what the situation is. Now, the whole premise of this game is obviously to survive as long as possible. And how this works is, if you see at the top of the little screen, you have the militia, which is on the left, the faith, which is the second one with the star, people, which is obviously the people cut out, and money, which sort of looks like it is money, sorry. It just sort of looked like one of those things you put, the sandglass things. But anyway, how it works is your aim is obviously to survive, as I said, and you need to make sure that your bars up here, we'll call them bars, they don't either run out. Like, by run out I mean drops. If you can see, they are yellow at the moment, sort of halfway on all. They don't drop to the bottom, or they don't reach full potential, which means color it all yellow. Now, the one downside from this game so far is if you reach full potential, you die straight away, even on one of them. Now, I can understand if you reach, if you completely lose militia, lose religion, you lose the people's faith, and you lose the money. Like one of them, I can understand why you'd die. But it sort of makes no sense why, if you reach a potential in one of them, you die straight away. For example, I get the whole premise of, it seems like, they're trying to make it so, you can't be too good because too good, or sort of like how Ned Stark met his demise in the TV show and books. But the thing is, for example, you could be a leader who is fairly strong with his money. For example, Tyrion Lannister could lead, and he has an excellent, what would you say, he knows how to, even though he spends his money on, this is a pretty bad analogy, but even though he spends his money on alcohol or wine, I believe he would use it well. But for example, his religion mightn't be very good. But the thing is, you could excel realistically in this universe as one of the 4 domains here, and it would kill you anyway. Like, let's look at example of Daenerys. She has easily the best army in Westeros. Easily. With all her combined forces. Now, if she had a top army, if that reached fully potential, she'd die. Because the game would say, oh no, you've reached that potential, you have to die. That's my only gripe with this game. And it sort of detracts from the immersion from Game of Thrones. Because, I really love Game of Thrones. And I want to immerse myself in this world. Because I believe it is one of the most fascinating worlds to explore. And especially in a gaming sense. There's only been the Telltale game and that atrocious Game of Thrones RPG that sort of delved in. But this is sort of like, while it's licensed, it's sort of alternate because, it's unpredictable because you're not really following the script of the show or the books. Because obviously Season 8 hasn't come out yet, and the last book certainly hasn't come out yet. It probably won't come out for another 2 years or a bit longer. But what I really like is this developer has taken a really good approach to how that, how you could basically control any one of the, you can control a ruler and just have an alternate path, to how they might rule. Now that works for me really well because, you're not going off a script. Yeah, they've sort of, for example, bullshitted like here and there. It's not going to be true to the show. Like, who knows? It might be. Like, there might be a situation where you take over as, let's say, Jon Snow, and he might actually lead. And how this works in WoW is, because I've been playing as Jon because he's one of my favourite characters. How it works is you will actually get sort of mentions of certain events that have happened in the series, and for example, something related to Jon Snow's birth, and for example, in Season 7, you might, with his on and off relationship with Daenerys, that might come back and something might come of that in this interactive story. Now, this is where the game really, I guess, shines, is how it sort of tries to tell a story. And if I had one more negative, it'd be, I understand it is you're trying to survive, but, you don't really feel that immersed. It's all that immersion feeling. You don't feel that immersed with how long you can survive for, because, you want to play the game as long as possible. I get it's a survival game, in a sense, but, also, I would like to touch on the graphics. The graphics are fairly, I guess, cartoonish. They're sort of pixelated graphic, like, those old, different art style pixel graphic things. But I think this is where also the game shines itself, because while they've got the license, they've sort of just gone at their own world, like have a different art style. They don't have to use character portraits or like real life photos of the actors. I really like this art style that they've chosen here, and while it's sort of an indie game, so you can't really expect for AAA graphics or character portraits everywhere of every character. And also another positive, by far probably one of the best positives of this game, is it actually uses the Game of Thrones soundtrack. So they've actually got the rights by HBO to use the soundtrack, which is amazing, especially when you have like an event happening and it'll play a certain like tune. I'll actually play a tune here for you. And just something like that, it works really well because it sort of immerses you. It had immersion factor in that universe. Now, I only paid $4 US dollars. I'm in Australia on Steam, so we don't have a Steam Australia store. So, I'm sort like, you know, I sort of buy from the US Steam store because that's what's installed onto my laptop. So I haven't bothered trying to change it. I don't think you can change it to Steam Australia. If you can, let me know, but I haven't found a way. But is it worth $4 USD? That would what account to, like, saying that I had $15 in my account from a refund, so I thought, why not? Is it worth $4? I think that might come out to probably $6, around $6, $6 or $7 Australia. Yes, in a sense. You have to be, I will say, you have to be a fan of either Reigns, the game, Reigns the game, but also you have to have a strong liking to Game of Thrones. If you have never played this series of Reigns and you don't know anything about it, or you don't know anything about Game of Thrones, I would honestly say this is a pass for you unless it was on like a really good sale for like 50 cents or $1. $4 USD is probably the right amount if you're a Game of Thrones fan. I've played 7 hours of it, so have I got $4 worth? Yes, I would assume I have. For 7 hours playing a $4 game, I'd probably have that money worth. Have I liked it so far? I've really enjoyed it, even though I stated my negatives about certain systems. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've also enjoyed playing this and sort of coming back into the Game of Thrones universe, because for the past year I have literally not touched Game of Thrones in anything. Like, I haven't seen any videos, there's no new trailer to Season 8. I haven't seen any new photos from Season 8 leaks. I haven't even watched Season 7 since it finally ended. That was that was last year. No. Yeah, it was last year. But anyways, is this worth your money? I would say yes, if you are a Game of Thrones fan. By Game of Thrones fan, I mean you have to have some general knowledge of the show, and I would recommend that you at least have seen Season 7, or possibly, you could probably get away with reading the last book, but even so, Season 7 sort of goes into a bit further than the latest book, because obviously the new book of the final book of the series hasn't come out yet, which is what the last 2 seasons are loosely based off. I'm sure they'll be different in the book. Anyways, let me know in the comments, what you thought of this game. I would recommend it, as I said, if you are a Game of Thrones fan. If you liked the video, just leave a like. You don't have to. But yeah, in the comments, just leave a comment on what your favourite Game of Thrones moment of any of the books or the series or the TV show has been, and maybe what you might look for in a future Game of Thrones game. So this is Mega Kaza 1 signing out. I hope you have a great day. I will see you next time on my reviews.